consist of. Each list item, starting with list item 1 down to maybe 12 or 13, has 4 spaces. The first 3 spaces denote C_1. The last space, the number 2, stands for the duration, and I'll explain that a little further. So every one of these notes consists of 4 characters. All right. The first 3 stands for the pitch. The last one stands for the how long, the duration, as you can see from the recorder. That's why the recorder is important, because it made it clear to you, that we have different durations: quarter, half, whole, and let me explain how that works. So let's look at the first note, which is C12. So C12, C_12. Like I said, I drew a red line down the middle. The left side is the pitch, the right side is the duration. We have to convert this into a time interval. In other words, this has to be converted into a time interval, and this has to be converted into a source file for the player to play. So it has to be converted to C_1.mid. All right? So we convert this to duration, convert this to a source file that the player can play the sound, and that's done by play note. So let's see exactly how play note works. All right? So let me go here. You look at the blocks. I'm going to explain every block to you, so you can explain each block. And please, one thing I've done throughout the semester, and unfortunately, I don't get any responses. If you don't understand anything I'm saying about a particular block, please, tell me about it. Tell me so I can try to explain it differently. Because I just lecture and I get no feedback. I don't know whether you guys are absorbing it or not. So let's look at the play note. So let's look at the play. The first thing the play note does is it gets the song list. It has to grab the song list. All right. It grabs the song list, the entire list, but it only wants to take one note out. So how does it know just to start with the very first note? There's a global note number. The global note number started at 1. What makes the global note number start at 1? I should really put the play note here, because when you want to play the song, the first thing you do is hit the play note. So let me see if I can put play note, because that's another thing I have to explain anyway. Let me see if I can play song 1 button somewhere here. Pitch. Look for play note. Put it next to it. Button. Here, play. Here's a play button. I'll move this next to the others so we can see all 3 how they work. The clock is very easy. The clock, all it does is play note. The clock plays it. So let me move this over. So I can go through the whole sequence so you can understand how this is working a little better. I'm almost there. All right. So this whole process starts with play note. All right, what does play note do? The first thing that play note does, which is another button you have to explain, so I'm going to explain all of these at once in a unified fashion. Play note does, I picked the wrong one, I picked slider. See that? I lost track of what I was grabbing. I grabbed the slider. What did I play note? I lost the play note, but here's the play note. They look the same. My eyes are so bad I couldn't even, that's why I have trouble. I can't really help people because I can't help. I just took the block apart. Boy, I hope I didn't do any damage. All right, I can fix it. All right. So what is the first thing the play note does? The play note loads the it sets the current song. Select the song to be equal to the list of the global song list. All right. What's this called? I should have play 2. Play 2 is happy birthday. Let me get play 2. Because this one, I have happy birthday up there. Play 1 is not happy birthday. You gotta get play 2. That's the wrong play button. Oh boy. 1 button. Song 1 button is the one that plays Happy Birthday. Alright, song 1 button. Song 1 button. Which song 1 button? When you hit song 2 is Happy Birthday. Well, take away. Oh, that's the wrong one. Song 2. HP Day. In other words, I'm able to play 3 different songs. One song is just a scale, the second one is Happy Birthday, and the third one is your song, all right? But I only have one play note routine. So keep that in mind. Okay, so now I have all of them together, the sequence. So on my music box, the second song is Happy Birthday. So what happens when you hit play song 2? Here's the song button. Oh no, I took the button apart again. See that? I keep doing bad things because my eyes are no good. I didn't take the whole thing, I took only what's inside. I lost the container. Oh God, what did I lose the container to? See, I wrecked this app already. Took this app apart. Where's the song 2?
Sounds about
Lost song 2 button. That's a slider. Oh, here it is. Song 2 button is here. I didn't take it apart right here. Get mixed up. Alright. So, the first thing the song 2 button is load the global select the song. What did it load? Load global H day. You see this? These two match. You see this is H day list? Yeah. HB day. Happy birthday list. So I load the happy birthday into the selected song. Alright? Why do I have to load the happy birthday into the selected song? Well, because you're using the same play note to play 3 different songs. Unless you want to write 3 different play notes, you want to use the same one, you have to create a new variable list. This list, when you hit the song button, loads that song into the selected list, so we can use only one play note button. Because the play note only has to deal with the selected list. It doesn't have to deal separately with the happy birthday list, with the select your song list, with the scale list. So each of those songs that we want to play, we load it into a selected song variable, which starts out as an empty list. So we fill it up with the song we want to play, and therefore in this play note routine, we just have to always use selected. We have to only use the selected song list. Selected song list. So the first thing we do is load the list we want to play into the selected song list. Then we start with the first note. How do we set up to start with the first note? We set global note number to 1. Alright? And after we set the global note number to 1, we turn on the clock timer. So if we turn on the clock timer, there's only one block in the clock timer. What block do you think is in the clock timer? Anyone remember? Once the clock timer is triggered, there's only one block in there. It calls play note. See, how do we go from clicking song 1 to play note? We go through the clock. What if we over here, instead of saying turning on the clock, I just said play note. You know what would happen then? It would play one note, and that's it. The play note routine goes through once, and it's over.
So what's the block?
By using the timer, you know, what does the timer do? The timer starts the program inside it every interval. Every interval. Now, for instance, how do we do the mole match? In the mole match, the reaction time tester. We set the timer for 100, which is 0.1 seconds. So every 0.1 second, it added to that number, which showed you the time. You divided that number by 10, and you got 5.1 seconds, 4.1 seconds. You remember that? So the timer always executes at an interval that you specify. In that lab, we specified 100 milliseconds and kept it there. This lab, we're going to specify different times every time. This note only plays for half a second. that note only plays for an eighth of a second, and the timer knows that, so it keeps running. So that's why you can't simply go from song 1 to play note. You turn on the timer. The timer will repeatedly go from note 1 to note 2. In other words, it'll keep running through play note instead of just once when it's finished and it's done. It'll run it. Then the next time the clock triggers, based on the interval, it'll run the program again. The clock timer is very dumb. It just runs what's inside it constantly at the interval until you tell the clock to stop. And when do we tell the clock to stop? When the play note sees the number 0 on the list, remember the note list, when you see 0, the play note will say, turn off the clock. You can see on the bottom, set clock to false if you detect a 0. So anyway, when you hit the song button, it starts with note 1 and then it sends it to the timer. The timer will say play note. So let's see now what happens when we play note. So at the very first time, it'll grab from the list the first note, the note number. So it'll select the item on the list, the C1, just the first note. And the moment it selects the first note, it breaks it up into 2 parts. Right away, it'll calculate the, I take that back. After it picks up a note, before it breaks it up, it has to check to see if you've reached the end of the song. So the first thing it does is it takes this thing you selected and compare it to 0. If it is 0, what happens? If it is 0, you set the timer enable to false. You turn off the clock. All right?
That's a quick question. My ID not working for the computer.
What?
My ID not working for the computer.
Okay, we work till late. I'm giving you a lecture right now.
It says the administrator is not.
Yeah. I'll have to finish the lecture because I delayed the class waiting for people to come in late. You came in late.
No, I waited. Should I go to the administration?
No, I'm going to just turn on the thing. I'm going to turn on the thing, like I always do. Okay, so anyway, the first thing the play note does is it picks up the first note, and it'll keep on picking up new notes, because later on you'll see it adds 1 to the number each time. But it tests each one. It doesn't know when the 0 is going to arrive. All right? When it reaches 0, it stops the clock. When the clock stops, the play note will no longer be called. In other words, this program will stop. It won't play any more notes. All right? So when the clock stops, no more notes will be played. All right, let's say it didn't reach 0. So if it didn't reach 0, it goes right up to breaking up the thing into 2 parts. The duration and the pitch. So how does it get the duration? So right away we say player 1, right away we do the source file for the sound. In other words, we're going to break off these first 3 and attach it to dot mid. Let's see how that happens. We use what's called segment. Segment says I want to take 3 characters, starting with the first character. I start at 1, I want 3 characters. That takes C_1. And what will I do with that? I will join it with dot mid. So now it's C_1 dot mid. There's your sound. Now how long will I play that sound? Now I take the 4th digit, this 4th digit, only the 4th digit, the number 2. So how do you do that with the segment? You do that with the segment by saying segment 4, starting at the 4th position, and only 1 character long. See, the other one starts at the 1st position, and there's 3 characters long. Now we start in the 4th position, 1 character long. So we pick up the number 2, and what do we do with the number 2? We multiply it by 250. That'll give us 500, and we set the clock interval to 500. What does setting the clock interval to 500 mean? See, we set the clock interval. Set clock interval to 2 times 250. 500. What is 500? How many seconds is 500? You should know that. Half second. So that's our quarter note. Our quarter notes are half second. Number 2. What you see from that note recorder, when you hit an 8th note, it's 1. That's the shortest note. When you hit a whole note, it's 8. It's 2 seconds. 8 times 250, 2,000, 2 seconds. All right. So the timer will repeat the next note after only half a second after playing this note. And then we will add 1 to the number to set up so that when the timer triggers again, it won't be note number 1 anymore. It'll be note number 2.
Can I, 1 second, so with the player, going back just a little bit.
Yeah.
The 1 would be on